Hello, welcome to this new Executive Digest CEO Talk. Here today, as our guest, we have Georgi Makarov, Head of the Portuguese Office and Business Development Manager of BrainRocket. BrainRocket presents itself as an international software development and digital solutions company. They say they are young, ambitious and unstoppable, and we will start from there. So, welcome Georgi. How do you describe, or help me to describe, BrainRocket to the newcomers?
As you rightfully said, we are a software developing company. We have a number of clients with whom we work for quite some long period of time, and we develop and support products in various IT products, right? So this is what we do.
What we do, but then you started in Cyprus, and then you went to Malta.
Yeah, originally, Cyprus was one of the first international moves. Then was, I think Sofia was the first before Malta, small office there. Then Malta, then Sofia expanded. And then,
and then
Lisbon.
We come to Portugal, like in 2024?
2024, yeah.
How come do we have Portugal in your map? Why did you choose Portugal?
We were looking for a place where we can both relocate people and hire locally, right? So I will start from hire locally. We said that already market is there, like a lot of people came already to Portugal, so there is a tech community that is developing and growing. So if we want to have the market which already kind of a bit saturated, that's it, right? And for relocating, we said we need a place where we can bring people, so people would love to come, right? And I think this is a nice combination of like infrastructure. It's difficult to talk about climate today, but climate overall, right?
Yes.
Cost of living, right? And I think this is important, that working in Portugal for Portuguese market, it's one thing, right? But working in Portugal for global market, this is completely another thing, right? And this is what we are doing. So we said, nice to be there, you know, if we want to relocate people. Taxes, I mean, it's, you know, quite beneficial for bringing people here for first 10 years. So that was the combination, the mix of both, right? And this office was like a first attempt, like the test, and it was successful. So we're expanding already, and from this office we're going to another one.
Here in Portugal?
Yeah, in the same building, by the way. But
Here we are at Lagoas Park, for the ones that don't know.
Yeah. And from this one, which is 700 square meters, we're going to have expansion to 2,500 square meters.
Here?
Yeah.
Wow, it's going well.
Yeah, in 8 months.
Yes. So, and can we speak about the main goals for these offices, and how does it align with the company's long-term vision?
Yep. So we said we're expanding globally, and then we said that we want one of our offices to be the one where people speak English among themselves, right?
Okay.
And then we said we tried that to be the Lisbon office, right? And the role of this office is to attract people, mostly from European Union countries and Brazil, right? Okay. And to have the international hub for global talent here. Let's put it this way, right? And so far we kind of progressing quite well in this direction, right? So saying hub globally, and again mostly for Europe. Let's put it this way.
Okay, and you already talked about the relocation, and BrainRocket is known as well for hiring internationally. What key qualities do you look for in the new candidates?
That's very easy. It's very easy to explain and to remember. We are searching for people with both brains and energy, and this is very easy, like brain and rocket, right? We're looking for smart people. Smart being, clever, educated, having proper skills, and having the brains. But what is important, you should not be just smart. You have to be result driven. You have to be energetic, right? Because brain without this part is not necessarily helpful. And energy, without brains is even worse probably, right? So we are looking for a combination. We are quite demanding, I would say so, both in technical skills if you're looking for software developers or business skills, right? But we know that we want only these people be part of our team, because when you are in a team of professionals, you perform better.
Is it it's easy for you to find those skills nowadays?
No, it's always difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking for a top talent, it was difficult, it will be difficult, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to attract them with other things, because normally they would have plenty of choices, right?
Yes.
So then you have to also provide them with something that they would say like, yeah, okay, we want to be here, right?
Yes, and that will lead to my next question, because how does the company BrainRocket support these professionals, relocating them to Portugal or other countries? You have a lot of benefits.
Yeah. So this is one part. So the part of the benefit is quite straightforward. We help, of course, with process of relocation, with documents, and explaining to people what they need to do. Of course, they have to do few things by themselves, right? We cannot do everything for them, but we go through the whole process together with them. Then there are some obvious benefits, like we provide housing for a few weeks, because people who come, they just need to find a place. We provide tickets for the person and for the family with the certain limit, but in most of the cases this is more than enough to come. And few other perks like medical insurance and this type of things, because it's important that when you come to the new country, you have to have this.
Easy.
Yeah, I mean, normally in the country where you live, you have the safety network, right? Here, if you are coming, right, you're on your own, right? This is important that you feel safe, and medical insurance is one of these things, for example. So we provide for the people who work with us, and help with medical insurance for the families as well.
And by your experience, what kind of challenges do these international employees face when they're relocating, and how does you provide them the help they need?
I think that's a good question. I think when you are just one relocating to the company where everybody speaks native language, then it's even more difficult, right?
Yes.
Because your colleagues during the lunch, they will switch to their language, and then you can do nothing with this. So on one hand, for us it's easier because there are people already from different countries, right? So they speak different languages, so among themselves they will speak English, so this is more easier to them, right?
The language is
one
of them.
You have to have a community, because again, you are coming alone. It's not easy to be part of the community, especially during the first weeks and months. For some people who has kids, school helps, because you talk with the parents of your kids, right? But if not, right, it's difficult. So that's why we're we're doing a lot of internal events, right? And not only for people, but for the families as well. So this is how we actually help them to build connection among themselves, right? This probably being the most.
It was one of the questions, and I saw that you have a lot of initiatives that take place to bring employees together. You have like network encounters, or even in the beach. I saw some parties. I don't know what kind of events
different, like
sports maybe.
We've been here already. We've been sponsoring paddle tournament, for example. We're trying to do some activities for the local community. So the guys went to the shelter of dogs and cats, for example. So they just helped, there on the shelter, and many different things, right? And then for some people, some strikes more. For some people, some works an opposite, right? And the whole idea is that we allow people variety of different things that they can do, right? So this is not mandatory. If you want to, this is voluntarily. And then people who really want to engage in some activities, they do so. And of course we have some events which is just a party, right? So
of course. But it's bringing them together and to get to know. And these kind of events and networking opportunities, they play also a very important role in the innovation and collaboration after these initiatives. It's important for them to.
I think this fosters communication across teams, right? Because without, if you can imagine, so having 0 events like this, people would be more tending to work with isolated teams, right? And these days, I think a lot of innovation is happening when you can grab a coffee with this another guy or girl from, you know, another team, right? It would be difficult if you haven't met before on some of these events and, you know, haven't spent time together in the car or, I don't know, painting the wall in the shelter, right? So I think these events that bring company together, they just helps building this relationship across members of different teams. And this, normally it works. You cannot measure this, but you know it, you feel it, right, in the office, right? When people talk to each other, people from different teams talk to each other like every day. Right?
So they are being brain and rocket. And we have already spoke about it, but just for people to know, you have like more than 10 nationalities in this Portuguese office. How does BrainRocket ensure a smooth cultural integration?
That's a nice one, and we probably missed the formal part of this, right? Because we are too small to have the proper cultural, cross-cultural trainings, right? So we don't have this. I think what is important here, when you speak with people from the other culture, you have sometimes the thought in your head, they are weird, right? And I think you need to build a certain level of trust in the office so that people who have these thoughts, and you will have these thoughts, right, in any case, they don't start to create stories in their heads about the people from other countries, other cultures. They just come and ask, right? And we have number of examples, like having this atmosphere of trust, right? If I notice something which is strange for me, I just go and like, what's going on? What's going on here, right? And I think we are good in creating this atmosphere of trust, if you want, right? And then this is how it helps us to overcome this.
And just embracing that, but how does BrainRocket balance a strong company culture, as you were mentioning, embracing also the local customs in Portugal?
The first impression for some people is it's rather slow here, right? And I will be frank, and then again we discuss. It's better for us to go and ask why, right? And normally people would say, yeah, we are doing everything with the proper pace, right? Which for some people would be, no, but still this is too slow, right? But then eventually you realize that things are happening, and then you need to change a bit your own expectations, right? So you just do a few things you plan in advance, right? You just give a bit more time and space for the people, and then things start to run really, really smoothly, right? So far we are managing this well, I think, right? But what are the other customs we have not yet realized?
The food, for instance.
No, this one, no, but this one, of course, I mean, people enjoy it here. No, I mean,
it's a very good way to
No, I mean, the food is fantastic, wine is even better. I mean, no, but
so they like it.
But that was one of the reasons, again, why we picked this office, because compared to, we had a lot of countries on the list, right? And that was one of the reasons, of course, right? You go to the standard, continente, and then the variety of fish you had on the on the shelf is amazing.
Yes.
Again, compared to some other countries.
Of course. And just 2 more questions, but what are the biggest benefits of working in such a multicultural? I think it's very important for people to understand what kind of value can this multicultural environment bring to the companies and to the outcome.
Yeah, we learn from others, from what I can imagine, and the more people we met that are very different from ourselves, the more we learn, right? It's like in many developmental practices, they telling you, go and find somebody who has nothing to do with your life and just talk with these people, right? So I think working in this environment is not to that extent, but still helps to look at the things from the different perspective, right? And then we develop best if we are able to do this as individuals and as a team, right?
And how does BrainRocket see its impact on Portugal's local tech ecosystem, and now and for the future?
Now we are quite modest, I would say, right? We are just one of many companies who came here And simple fact that we're saying, guys, we're recruiting in Portugal, these are the roles. I mean, this adds to overall feeling that Portugal is developing, into the good tech market, if you want. But we start to think about opening here what we called Bro Academy. This is quite successful experience we had in Cyprus, where we start to educate people who want to change their profession, right?
Okay.
And we have run already a number of courses in Cyprus like this, and part of the people then become, employees, and we start to work with them. We need sufficient scale of people first in the office, because these would be the people who would provide these trainings, right? And then you cannot do this, as I said, mandatory, so you just can say, guys who want, to share the knowledge that they would have. So when we have sufficient number of people here in the market, we probably will launch something like this. And then we would say, like, you can go and then you can have a course on front-end development, you can have a course.
It's like a reskilling.
Yeah. So we provide the training, we provide the facilities. People would still, I think, have to pay a little bit, because if it's totally free, normally people treat it very differently.
They value different when
they have to pay a little bit, but of course this is just, to have motivation, not to compensate. And then I think we would be able probably to launch this by end of this year, most probably.
Okay, and so for the future you will have another office here, and then
who knows? No, I mean everything is happening so fast in the world, in the industry.
Yes.
So we have to be flexible on one hand, but we have to have our polar star, and the polar star is just we are building community of people with brain and energy, and if we have more of people like this, they attract normally other people like this, right? So if we will have 250 people like this, maybe we will then just say, okay, fine, we want some more.
Of course. Thank you, Georgie. I hope we will see again and talk a little bit more about this IT software development company of the future. I hope the future is really, really near. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you also to the ones that were listening to us. See you next time.